Hi everyone, it's me, Tim. Today I want to talk about the worst RPG ever. I'm not going to talk about a specific RPG. I'm going to talk about what I would consider to be, and I will describe to you, to be the worst RPG you could possibly make. It's a fun Friday. What I decided to do was I now have 400 videos. I've got hundreds of videos about what I consider to be the best way to make an RPG. Now, I don't consider every decision I make in an RPG to be the best one or the best one for everyone. It's just how I like to make an RPG. So I thought I'd flip this on its head and describe to you what an RPG would be like if you do the opposite of what I recommend on all those videos. So I tried to come up with a name for this. I couldn't. If you can think of a good name for it after you hear this, put it in the comment section. But now I will describe to you what I consider to be the worst RPG ever. Basically an RPG filled with tons of bad design that I don't like. So just a caveat, I don't recommend that you do any of this in your game. So how does this RPG start? It starts with a beautifully rendered, gorgeous cinematic that you can't skip. By the way, none of the later skip cinematics, in-game or whether you trigger them from the menu, none of them are skippable either. You have to watch the whole thing. Why wouldn't you? It's beautiful. Someone spent a lot of time on it. Watch it. So, you can't pause it either. Then, let's say you start a new game and it puts you in the character editor. By the way, there's a ton of numbers in it and nothing's explained. Look at all those attributes. What does intuition do? Who knows? By the way, you immediately notice that both skills and attributes go from 0 to 1,000. What's the difference between a 5 intuition and a 7? What's the difference between a 5 and a 682? You know what? Good players will figure this out when they play the game, so get good. Now, here's another thing that you'll discover later. Attributes, once you select them, they can never be changed after the initial character creation. Even with items, even temporarily. And I'm sure you're thinking, well, it's okay, I'll respec. There's no respec, silly child. Now, there's a lot of other things about the player that can't be set at all. You may be surprised that the character editor doesn't give you access to things like your name, your gender, your background, your appearance, your voice. Why? Because you happen to be playing an unusually tall dwarf guy named Wackadoo for story reasons. The story's going to be phenomenal because we put pins in all those things and you can't decide to change it. Why should you be allowed to pick your own character for an RPG? We know better. We're designers. So we have an awesome story for you, Wackadoo. Also, none of the system mechanics that you picked have anything to do with the setting because we didn't make the setting first. We didn't go setting, story, system mechanics. We jumped in with system mechanics we liked. So by the way, there are guns in this world of magic. Does the setting support that? I don't know. Oh, but you don't have a gun skill. Oh, you also don't have spells. Because we did the system mechanics first and we didn't put those in. So whatever. Anyway, by the way, I just told you you do have a ton of cool skills, okay? But nothing you do in the game will be based on the value of those character skills. They're all based on player skill. So when you aim, like your bow, that's all on you. Your bow skill doesn't have anything to do with it. Oh, and when you block, that's all based on timing. You better block at the exact right time. You have a block skill. It doesn't do anything for that. In fact, you're not sure what it does. And it goes from 0 to 1,000. And you put 100 points in it already, and you haven't noticed any change in your blocking. Get good. Also, there are tons of mini games. There are mini games for everything. Picking locks, disarming traps. Pretty much, if you do it out of combat, there's a mini game for it. Oh, those are also based on player skill. And sometimes things about the player that you may not be able to do. There are color-based minigames. There are word-based minigames. There are math-based minigames. There's one where you have to extract the cube root of a number, and you have to do it in 10 seconds or less. Why would you not be able to do this? The background of your character says that you're super smart. I know it wasn't a background you picked. It's a background we picked because we have a great story for Wackadoo, and he's super smart mathematically. So why can't you extract cube roots in 10 seconds? Come on, man, get good. Oh, remember, so there's a whole stealth system. So if you don't feel like engaging in combat or whatever, you can just do stealth. Stealth is about staying in the dark and staying behind cover, especially when NPCs are looking in your direction. But there's absolutely no UI element that shows you where they're looking, for realism. So what that means is that guard who's really far away on that catwalk that's walking back and forth, you better be able to tell the difference from 100 yards away if he's looking like this or he's looking like this. Because that's what makes stealth fun. And it's super realistic. I mean, that's exactly what it's like to sneak around in real life. You don't know where people are looking. So the game supports that. And it's so challenging and so fun and super realistic. Oh, let's talk about perks for a second because I was talking about stealth. All of our perks sound great on paper. Let me tell you about this one. There's one called Stealth AC. Stealth AC means when you're undetected while stealthing around, your AC goes up by 10. Isn't that awesome? Basically, what that means is when people can't see you and therefore can't even be targeting you, you have this enormous armor class. You're super well defended. So don't go out of stealth because then you can be hurt. Isn't that an awesome perk? All of our perks are like that. Also, now that I think about it, there are some builds that can't finish the game. I mean, we tested it, but for story reasons, we really wanted our builds to be a certain way. And there are actions you can take while you're playing that will prevent you from finishing the game. So if there's a quest item and you sold it, you're going to have to reload. I hope you made a save game. By the way, maybe you didn't even sell it. Maybe you dropped the quest item in lava and it was destroyed. Yeah, you can't finish the game. We don't detect that. You're just going to have to reload. Oh, maybe it wasn't even destroyed. Maybe the quest item is still sitting at the bottom of that lava pool. But lava's instant kill. So if you try to touch that lava pool, you're dead. Even protection from fire makes it instant kill because lava's different than fire because it's solid. So too bad for you. Oh, since we mentioned that you can't finish the storyline, let me tell you some stuff about this great storyline we wrote, which, by the way, is based on all those things that you couldn't touch in character creation. Our storyline is completely linear because it's so good. We don't want you to miss anything. So everything goes in an exact order. You can't change it. In fact, your choices aren't going to really matter. They're going to seem like they matter, but they're not. There's going to be dialogue lines that are totally different. Like maybe there's one where you insult an NPC and another one where you totally compliment him and tell him how wonderful he is. It doesn't matter. They both lead to the same thing. The guy will give you the quest anyway. It doesn't matter. Different actions in the world. Did you kill the guy who was kidnapped? Did you rescue him? Who cares? Either way, you complete the quest because the story is super important and it's got to move along. And since it's linear, it's not like we can change anything if he died. So it doesn't matter whether you rescue him or not. Don't worry. The quest will be completed. You can move on. Everything leads to the same conclusion. Why? Because people want to know that they did it right. So there's one big ending. It's awesome. It's always against the same boss. The boss always has the same attributes. Nothing you did matter. Your skills, I hope you got some of them up to 1,000 because they might matter here. Or maybe they don't, but get good. Oh, and there's a big cinematic. Oh, you mean when you kill the boss? No. When you first encounter him, there's a big unskippable cinematic, which will really drive home all the reasons he was doing all the bad stuff in the game, and he's got all this stuff he wants to talk about, none of which was mentioned until you get to the very end here, because how cool is that? You can have an entire cinematic. It's got me 20 minutes long, and it's full of exposition where he explains all these things he did and why he did it, even though there was absolutely no clue of why he did it earlier, and some of the NPCs that you met should have known this and be able to tell you, but we didn't. But you get it all. It's like a really cool movie where everything's revealed at the end. You're gonna love it. Some of our narrative designers are ex-Hollywood movie scriptwriters, so you're gonna love it. We know you're gonna love it. I can't even continue. I can't keep doing this. Anyway, that's my idea of you playing the worst RPG ever. Notice there's a ton of stuff I didn't even mention. I could have deep dived into art and music and a bunch of things, but those aren't really my areas, and I'm already worried that I may have insulted some other people out there who are making RPGs based on different decisions than I do. So, let me just say this. Everything I just said, I think that would make the worst RPG ever on the history of RPGs. I hope you liked it. If you ever play an RPG like that, I hope you play it once only because, by the way, there's no replay value. There's no reason to replay it. Happy Friday.